I try and make it so there's nothing else in the world going on. Don't matter what's going on in your life, you know, your business, you know, money worries, you might have an argument with a wife or something. You've got to disregard all that. You've just got to concentrate on what you're doing. Can't be distracted. Do I get doubts? Yeah, for sure. You know, do I get fear? Yeah, there's often a little bit of fear. Fear's good though. Fear keeps you on your toes, you know. Keeps you frosty, keeps your reflexes sharp and focuses the mind. So a little bit of fear, if you can use that to your advantage.
Two, 4, 6, 8, they're never too late. 3, 5, 7, 9, another word line. Well, my name's John the Fish, John Bream. Yeah, it was John the Fish in the military, and then yeah, I started flying. Sort of just went flying fish.
So you've evolved from
I've evolved. Don't look in the camera. Yeah, I've evolved to John the Flying Fish. Yeah. So yeah. I don't block out the fear. No, I absorb it. I latch onto it. I thrive on it. I do it because of the fear. The fear makes you alert, you know, sensory overload, and just, you know, that's why you do it. That's the drug. The fear is the drug, the adrenaline. That's why you do it. And you're like that. You grab it and you go, yeah, yeah, and you just go with it. Yeah, it's part of the fun. And then when you land, you're like, I'm alive, I can't believe I lived. And that's it. Sell the Volvo. A Volvo's a safe car, Emmett.
I've been base jumping for about 2.5 years. So yeah, skydiving for 4 years, and then about 2 years into my skydiving career I discovered base, and I've been doing that for about 2.5 years now as well. I don't really have any sort of particular, I don't do any yoga breathing methods or anything. I kind of just, you know, accept that I know what I'm doing, and just go for it. I think you watch most base jumping videos, and every single one of them you'll see a person saying 3, 2, 1, see ya. As soon as you've started that countdown, that's just, everything switches off and you just go into sort of jump mode, and that's it, you just go for it.
I was bricking it under that new canopy. Oh yeah, it's like, have I put it together correctly, or yeah, is it going to work? Have they stitched it together? You just like, you don't know, do you? So when you got your old gear, you know it's all trusty, don't you?
Yeah.
It's like, ooh. But yeah, like I was at the top and Dan goes, he goes, "You got the gear fear." I goes, "What's that?" He says, "You know when you get a new bit of gear and you're like, ooh, all the questions come in." I was like, ah! He knew exactly what I was thinking.
Spot on, isn't it?
You fucking make me nervous, man. Why'd you do this to me every
For
time?
me?
Yeah, you. Fucking elbow pads, fucking knee pads. And
What do you mean I make you nervous?
hell. Stop this. Hey? You know I ain't got elbow pads. You putting them on makes me fucking scared.
Shut up.
Dan, you can be a little unfair sometimes. There, I've said it.
What do you mean then?
You know, the things that I don't like, I'm not the most confident climber. A lot of access, a lot of jump sort of exit points require quite confident climbing skills, or even just some of the places that you need to scramble to. So that probably freaks me out a bit more than the jump itself, especially when you're getting to these points without a rig on. One slip and you fall down, and that's it. Whereas when you've got a rig on and you're on the exit point, you know, you know what you're doing. You know, I don't like ladders very much, and buildings, you know, sometimes require sort of sneaky breaky James Bond type entrances, which you know, is great, but you know, it can also be quite stressful on top of the fact that you're going to have to jump off it as well.
You know, the general public do think they're fucking idiots still. Attention-seeking adrenaline junkies. Probably didn't get enough love from their mums when they was kids, which could be true. I did, by the way.
Cuddle me, Mum. But she didn't, you know. I was like, I'd climb the garage. I'd be like, "Mum, look at me, I'm on the garage." But, "Oh, that's nice, John." You know, "Look at me, Mum." So yeah, it's just a scream of "Look at me, look at me."
Negative in every manner. They see people jumping off cliffs and think, you know, Walking Dead men. It's a stupid thing to be doing, but you know, they're the sort of people that just don't really see all the action that goes on in the background and the preparation and the years of training that people do to get to a point where they can comfortably jump off a cliff.
The internet and social media, everything's out there. Pretty much everything you need to know, you can find online. So back in the day, there was a lot of mystery surrounding base jumping. You know, there was a lot that people didn't know, and what some people did know, they didn't want to share. So it was almost like alchemy, base jumping. You know, it was like magic almost.
They think it's just a jump, pull, we're done. There's so much that goes into it. Technical gear, equipment selection, weather, things like that. How the canopy's going to handle, exit points, flight phases, drop zones. There's so many component elements and stuff. But I'm not the best, you know. I don't always get it right. Definitely not. But having someone like Dan who's been doing it so long, who can help you, guide you, and give you a bit of advice. "Wow, geezer, I'd recommend taking a PCA. You've never done this one before." You think, "Oh, okay." You know, he's been doing it a long time. Listen in, see what he's got to say. Go with it.
Trying to laser down to get a height where you would hit if your parachute didn't open. I've done this one before, but you've always got to get the right place. Because of this fog, my laser's not getting a reading. Obviously this is a no-goer, so we go back to where we was. We should find a place up there.
Thoughts like these that led me to the smack.
That's when he turned it off. That's when he said, "No, hey, there's a big fucking rock there, you man."
It is. It's called brake cord, or bootlace, as I call it. This has got a braking strain of 80 pounds. So basically, 80 pounds of force, and it snaps. I like to use 2 loops, so I'll tie 2 loops on the end of my bridle, and the other end on this, which is banged in the ground. This pulls my parachute out. When I get to line stretch, these snap, bang bang, parachute's open, and I'm gone. Brake cord.
John Bream. Flying fish. He's yeah. He gives out, but he can't take it. He starts crying sometimes. That's, despite he's got quite a character, but despite the character that he's got around him, he's actually a very experienced person, and he does take it very seriously. You know, when actual safety comes into play, he's probably one of the most experienced people that I'd like to be around. He really knows his stuff, especially when it comes to accessing jumps and actual safety sort of points. He's a very good jumper to be with.
There'll be no wind or anything like that, right? And we'll walk up to the cliff edge, and I'll just do it for laughs sometimes. I go, oh, it's a bit windy. And he'll be like, yeah, totally agree, it's very windy, we should call it off and turn around and come back tomorrow. I'm like, shut up, Emmett, just go over. No.
I like to think I don't discriminate. I dislike everyone equally. Got a lot of time for them. They're very different characters, you know, in many ways. But
No, and plus, yeah, to finish it off on a nicety then, he's very good. He can fly, his canopy, he can fly. If there's a challenging area, he can land it and he's good. And yeah, I hit rocks, I bounce, I trees, all sorts, whereas Emmett is he's technically very good, and I hate it. Yeah, there you go, Emmett.
You're putting your life in other people's hands, so you do really need to be around people that you trust, and you generally do a few jumps with people and you get to know them quite well, more than you would if they were just sort of a person that you went to the pub with. I think you really get quite, as weird as it sounds, it's quite intimate, you know, seeing people in their sort of most scared moments, because I mean you do get jumpers that are very confident, but generally most people, they're sort of the mask that they've got in real life ends when they get to an exit point and they're like looking down thinking that they've got to jump sort of thing. I think people's true characters really show when they're actually ready to jump sort of thing. Just being outside and doing stuff in general, keeping your mind active, you know, breaking away from the 9 to 5 and going home and watching TV sort of thing. I think forcing yourself to be out here to find exits and go jumping, it really is good for the brain. It's good to keep active for sure. I'd definitely like to be in the situation where I've got multiple rigs, just go and do a bunch of jumps and then pack afterwards. But I suppose, yeah, it gives you a minute to breathe between each jump and have a think, I suppose. Yeah, it does get a bit nauseating packing all the time. You definitely want to take your time with it, get it all right, because you only got one of these things, and if you do it wrong, then you're in trouble.
here's one I prepared earlier. In the early days I would do this like these boys. I had one rig, I would jump, then pack. You know, you're packing all sorts of places, especially if you're out and about in London at night. You know, you end up packing in McDonald's car park, or you know, you go and find a bit of grass on a lay-by somewhere, and B&Q car park, anything. Next month will be 23 years base jumping, so first base jump was in 2000. It's been quite an experience, last 23 years. What made me start? Curiosity made me start. I knew a couple of geezers that were doing it. And I I went to watch them one night, and just out of curiosity, and they said to me, "Oh, we'll teach you if you like." I said, "No, I don't want to learn the base jump. Just here to see what's going on." And went and watched a few times, and then I said, "All right, I'll do one just to see what the experience is like." Just did another one. I did another one. And that's how the last 23 years have been. I've just been doing another one each time, and that another one has turned into 2,300 base jumps, roughly. My philosophy was, it's like being an alcoholic, I can quit at any time. Yeah, my philosophy always been, I'll go to the jump, if I don't fancy it, that's it, I'm done, I'll walk away. And you know, but it's just so happened that pretty much every time I've gone to jump, I have jumped, and go to the next one and I jump again.
Yeah, you want to hang around with an older base jumper who's been doing it a long time, not a young pup who's been doing it a year or two and, you know, thinks they're bloody brilliant. You just...
The chest strap is done up inside. So when you do your zips up on the wingsuit, the chest strap is hidden inside. Again, it's easy to put the wingsuit on and forget to do your chest strap up. So another thing to bear in mind. I've actually done that one myself.
Are you nervous, John, about wingsuiting?
At the minute, I'm as cool as a cucumber. When I'm on the exit point, dressed up and ready to go, ask me then. I'll be like a wet lettuce. Yeah.
No, not really. I like to think that I could quit at any time, but all addicts say that, don't they? I think one day I'll just be standing on the exit point and I'll just think to myself, that's it, done. And I'll just walk away and that will be the end of it. That's how I hope it works out.